Hello, everyone. Before we dive into today's episode, I wanted to remind you that my book, Drummers on Drumming, is available now on Amazon as both a paperback and an ebook. Based on the Big Fat Five segment of this podcast, where I sit down with my favorite drummers to discuss the 5 records and stories that shaped their approach to the instrument, this book is packed with insights from the drummers who redefined how we think about the modern drum set. You can grab your copy now by checking the link in this episode's show notes or simply searching Drummers on Drumming on Amazon. So thank you for all the support, and now let's get into the show. What is up? Welcome back to Drummers on Drumming, a podcast powered by Big Fat Snare Drum. This is another installment of The Drum Panel, a roundtable style discussion on all things drums. I'm joined, as almost always, by my co-host Eric Urrea, and today's special guest is Jeremy Taggart, longtime drummer for Our Lady Peace and co-host of the Taggart and Torrens podcast, where he blends his love of music, comedy, and all things Canadian. At the end of the day, we're just good buddies, and that's the kind of people I want to have on the show. So this episode kicks off in the middle of a little rant I was having about a recent encounter with David Garibaldi, which if you stick around long enough, you might just hear for yourself. So let's just hop in. Cheers. No, but so last week I had David Garibaldi on the podcast, and the night before I put my computer in sleep mode as opposed to shutting it down completely, because I thought sleep mode was it would still let your computer rest and wake up energized. That's not the case. And so when we got there, or we got on the Zoom link, by like third song, all of a sudden my Spotify froze. And then the whole Zoom link just shut down. And we were 30 minutes into it. He had given some amazing insights. And I was just like, oh, Jesus. Not only do I now not look pro, now I lost 30 minutes of him saying some really cool stuff. Luckily, it shut down, but it was still converting it, so I know that it still recorded it. So I was like, oh, okay. But I had to wait 15 minutes. He texted me like, hey, are we still doing this? And I was like, yes. Log back in, and Spotify does the same thing again. This time, I stopped it so it didn't shut down. Then he started to be like, what kind of computer do you have? And I just looked, I was just sweating. And then he's like, well, let's do YouTube. And I was just like, okay, let's do YouTube, meaning to listen to the songs on. And that wasn't working. And of course, because once all this is happening, then I can't be present. You know, I try and be present in every conversation, and my conversation skills just went down the shitter. And finally we got on, and then, so then I'm using my phone as my camera, and I had to play the songs from my phone into the microphone just so in real time, I'm going to edit it. People that hear the podcast, which will come out probably 2 weeks after this episode airs, I'll put the audio in. You probably won't even notice, but I had to use my phone. And then at one point, since I was using the Bluetooth or my phone as a Bluetooth camera, I had to shut that off. But then the Bluetooth turned back on when my camera was facing downwards. And I was just like right now, I'm wearing sweats. They're my at work home sweats, and I'm not wearing any socks. And so all of a sudden I'm talking to David Garibaldi, and just blasting on the screen is my pajama pants and bare feet on my ground.
Like everything happened.
Everything could go wrong, dude. And then we were doing this March Madness thing with Big Fat Snare Drum, and we had like these celebrity judges. And so at the very end of it, I was like, hey, can you do this thing where I'm going to read you a few things that drummers don't like, and you can pick the winner. And he was so, to his own credit, he's a very intelligent guy. I was probably not explaining it well, but he was just like, I read him off the 2 finalists, and he was like, what's going on? It was the worst day of my life. And so that's my David Garibaldi story. I mean, that being said, he was a sweetheart. He was totally nice the whole time, texted me afterwards, thanked me. But he said it was the most interesting podcast he's ever been on. Jeremy, I've asked everyone else that's been on the show, so Eric has answered this, but if there was a piece of gear from music history and you got a chance to have, to own it, what would that piece of gear be?
Piece of gear. That's awesome. Probably John Coltrane's saxophone.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, if we're going for something that might have some vibes, right?
Yeah.
I would say any piece of Alvin's kit in that era too, sure, but I'm going to go for the gold and say Coltrane sax.
Was he known to just have the same sax through most of his career? Like, is there a sax?
Alvin told me these stories of how he would practice relentlessly and take it everywhere he went, like to the point of like when they're playing solos on stage, he would like leave the stage and go into the bathroom and continue to play. Just he was like trying to, the creativity, he was trying to find certain things or whatever, but just constantly working to the point where like he had to read while he was driving in the car. Imagine that. In the early 60s, those four, McCoy Tyner, Jimmy Garrison, Alvin, and John Coltrane in a car. And that's why he used the 18-inch kick to fit in the back and the bass on the roof. But they were always practicing. So he said John Coltrane had a pocket full of change. And every time he would stop, like he had a reed in his mouth and practicing always, he would stop at a roadside place and he would just call his wife and talk to her and then get back on the reed in his mouth. And like he said, Alvin said he'd never seen that kind of dedication. And the dedication that he implemented and showed everybody, they had to kind of catch on. So they're all like sleeping with their instruments, right? So imagine how good that band was when they were all doing that for years. Like it's just a whole new level of creativity and everything.
Imagine if they had cell phones back then. They'd probably just be doom scrolling on Instagram. Yeah, that's why the greats are greats, because they didn't have Instagram to distract them.
Yeah,
so I don't, you know what, we're just as good as them.
Just imagine John Coltrane's content, dude. It would be...
Dude, I've thought about that. Like because we're so lucky to have, let's just say Aaron Sterling is just in the studio showing us what he does, which is such a glimpse into genius. And I wonder what sort of presence some of those guys would have on social media. I would assume a lot of them would not have it.
Yeah, I feel like they'd be all those types of people that don't post or anything. You see like a picture every 6 months, like, you know what I mean? Like Jim Keltner's alive and well, and he, you know what I mean? There's nothing happening. It's not going to happen.
It's like John Coltrane has like 4,000 followers with one picture from 2015. It's like a grainy pancake
Just
photo.
a grainy picture of his wife, like, love you, baby.
Exactly. It was an anniversary thing. She's like, this is a new app. Just say it.
Or he has like a social media manager making him do like TikTok dances and play the saxophone.
I think to be that good at what you do, like, part of it is you just don't accept that stuff.
Yeah.
There's no time for it.
Yeah. Well, to piggyback off that question, Jeremy, if there was a recording that you could be a fly on the wall for, which would it be?
Love Supreme, just because it's so epic and close. You know what I mean? Like I've listened to it so much that it's like, you get to hear every moment, and seeing it happen in front of you would just be incredible. But honestly, I think any record where a band is just really focused and are great at what they do, like Beatles records would be incredible just to see, when they're like the Get Back stuff. It doesn't really give you a glimpse of them really in the studio. It gives them a glimpse of them just kind of with their chickens with their heads cut off in a room that are like trying to make music as well. So to see them actually really getting into it on all cylinders with George Martin or whatever, like showing how they would mess with the equipment to get new sounds, seeing that. Pink Floyd, I would say, like Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Just bands that are actually doing stuff that's never been done. That's pretty amazing to me. Like the Brown album by the band, like their first record. Like imagine like having Leave on there, telling everybody what's going on and how to do everything. And you know what I mean? Just he was such a leader. And I had the opportunity to interview Garth Hudson, and he talked about how knowledgeable Levon was, to the point where he taught everybody how to play their instruments, because he could play everything and how to play and where to feel everything. And just he was such a... Ronnie Hawkins, I actually, not to drop another big bomb name, but I interviewed him too. Baby. And they were the backing band for Ronnie Hawkins. And Ronnie Hawkins himself said that, don't make no mistake, Levon was the leader of that band, because when they were backing Ronnie Hawkins up, they were kind of more R&B and soul, and Richard did a lot of the singing with his voice and the falsetto, so he thought it was going to sound like a Motown record, and it didn't. It sounded like Levon, and like all of the stuff that he has, and it was just so authentic and real and different. Imagine sitting there and watching him just like, this is how it is. You know, when he talks and tells us a story about going to the movies, it's like the most interesting thing you've ever heard. Imagine when he's really getting after it. There's got to be some great cutting room stuff from The Last Waltz.
Oh my God, there has to be. I have this secret, selfish wish that I'm going to be asked to play Levon Helm in a biopic one day.
Oh, nice!
That's why I'm trying to get the beard going. And this
pretty
good.
You're made for it, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I would love it. But this actually leads me to my next question that I did want to talk about. So I'm playing with this artist. His name's Nicky Yor, and this is the first time that we're doing like 5-part harmonies. And luckily I have a little bit of a lower register, so I'm not having to strain too much, but it is the first time that I've had to really do that. And so because of that, I've been recording myself singing, and it's crazy how much when I am singing, how much I love, and then I mute my vocal, how much I love my grooves so much more. Even though I'm seemingly doing the same thing, it just feels so much better.
See, I could never sing. So, I mean, what's that like? Do you feel like being able to sing is actually, it kind of gives you an advantage as a musician that's looking for work?
Well, I think now I'm going to start taking vocal lessons because I realized it's just being in the room and throwing out ideas vocally is it's maybe fun because I haven't done it yet. For the record, I don't consider myself an amazing singer. I'm just trying to get its tone. I just want, there's a note, I want to get there, and then you blend me in, and it's fine.
Do you sing with Eve Six?
There's been a few songs, newer stuff, where we do kind of these falsetto oohs in the choruses, but so yes, I guess, but not necessarily a lot, and definitely not in canons. That's. Yeah. I don't know why I said definitely not, but not in canons. Definitely not in canons. You know.
Yeah.
You feel like your groove is better when you're singing.
Yes. And I also realized it because I think I play 30% less notes. Okay. Whether that's ghost notes or whether that's I don't know, whether that's an extra bass drum, whatever, but I don't know. I just sit in the pocket so much more.
Backup singing it's not about a personality. It's just about being able to sing a note, right? And it's basically the less personality you have, the better, right? Well, in a sense.
I agree with that, but then I was talking to, maybe it was Mark Stepbro last night. It was someone at this kind of dinner we had, because I'm nervous. I'm like, what do you guys do? How do you mix your in-ears? Do you do the vocal lead in the center, and then the other ones to the side? But he was saying that when and I think it was Mark, I don't want to quote him, but that when he went to a vocal coach, they were like, no, you have to sing like you're a lead singer. Like, don't just go at it with the mindset that you're just a tone. But that's kind of what I think.
You know what blows? Have you ever seen Dean Castronovo when he crushes the Journey tunes?
No.
It's insane. Like, it's like, what? You can just, it's like all sound. He's like, literally sounds exactly like Journey, but like he's crushing these fills and stuff in there. It's like, it blows my mind when you see a guy just all of a sudden ripping it or a girl just crushing it. All of a sudden, the presence of lead vocals comes back there. It's really, it kind of takes me aback a little bit, for sure.
Sure. Do you sing, Eric? I think I've heard you say you sing.
Yeah. I've started doing some backup harmonies with my band Marina City, and it is stressful.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel your pain, but I personally, I feel like I've had the opposite experience when I've listened back to recordings where I'm singing. I notice, at least on some scenarios, that my groove suffers. So like trying to practice that freedom and independence to like have a certain vocal flow and then also have like the rhythmic groove coordination, that's been like a struggle for me more than anything else.
Well, with Marina City, you're doing some intricate stuff. All the beats I've heard you play are pretty fun to play. So I'd assume maybe like the stuff I'm playing is a little more, actually the band is one of the references for some of these new songs he's putting out. So it really is just swampy backwoods kind of backbeat stuff, if I was doing something more syncopated, for sure I might, because I'm not the best drummer.
as soon as you're playing out of what the rhythm of your singing is, that's when it would get wild for me, where I just can't, I wouldn't be able to hang.
Which I guess that's the point, is that because you can't play it and sing at the same time, maybe that's your body saying, like, your drum part's not the right thing for the vocal right now. Because if you can't play it and sing at the same time, there's some disconnect. I mean, I'm not saying that, but...
No, for sure.
My parts are too busy is what you're saying.
I mean,
No,
I'm talking...
I'm just kidding.
You should quit
but
drums,
no, I know
Eric.
what you mean.
But-
Yeah, that's... I'm overplaying all the time.
Yeah.
I know, like, in Our Lady Peace, like, I would either follow the vocal or poke holes in it. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's just, if you're kind of countering the rhythm or adding to it on another level, it's just, it would take some time, but actually when you do get it, it would take you up a notch as a musician, I guess, right?
Absolutely. No, I'm
Sure.
really
Yeah.
excited. It just... Yeah, it's the things I would never think about, because I don't really think about panning when it comes to my in-ears. I don't. Maybe the toms they do, but now it's like they're like, oh yeah, we have 4 other vocalists on stage, so pan it to where they are on stage, and then have the vocal. It's just things I didn't think about, but it's fun when at this ripe old age of where I'm at right now, that I'm still learning things. I'm like, oh, I'm a novice completely in this section of the music community, so it's been fun.
Journey continues, my friend.
Speaking of journey, yeah.
Are you nervous to start taking lessons?
I was more so nervous on the first day. So we haven't actually done rehearsals yet. It's just we're meeting at the MD's or the artist's house with the MD, and it's just a bunch of us with mics, and we were kind of figuring out what the parts are going to be. And so the most nervous part, like, oh, so Ben, you do this. And we were recording all of our parts so that we'd get the session afterwards so we can solo our parts and see how they blend. And so it was really actually helpful. But in the moment, it was just like, I mean, Nicky, he's a really successful singer. He's a great singer. And I'm just like, wow, just not doing well. And he's like, no, man, it's good. It's good. We'll get there, so whatever. But they knew that going in. I didn't lie to them on the resume. I was like, I'll try.
You got to smoke a pack of Camels a day to try and get some...
So you get some emotion. But I need to get married, get divorced by next week. Can anyone help me with this? Lose a house.
I need some heartache.
Exactly.
Heartache tonight.
What's the cheapest piece of gear you guys have ever bought that has actually impacted your life the most?
You know what? Like, I have a not this snare stand, but like I had my first snare stand from like the first kit I had from like 1993 to like 2006. Like a really good run.
That's a good
with the
run.
Same crappy little old like snare stand. So I think it disintegrated. Like, honestly.
It literally disappeared.
Like, it literally, like, I figure if it was still here, I would definitely have it, but it's not. So I think it literally, like, fell away, like, piece by piece, just like, bye.
Or you come downstairs one day and the snare's just on the floor and you just go, that makes sense.
Yep.
Gone to drum heaven. So that would probably be it for me, I think, other than, like, I never fall in love with cymbals because they always break for me.
It's like a dog. They're always going to leave you. It sucks.
It's like a chimp when you're in a lab, right? It's like, come on,
Don't
man.
even ask its name. Don't even get that far.
Chimp, man.
I think mine would be dude, it's like a 10-inch Wuhan China that I've had, that I probably bought for like $13 at Guitar Center. Probably the same year that your snare stand went away, like 2007.
I remember the Wuhans were always like $25. Like, I was like, what? This one cymbal was always like the...
But I still have it.
Like,
yeah. They're definitely
They sound good.
losing money. They do. And because it's actually good bronze. It's not like a shitty B8.
Yeah.
That takes me back to Wuhan classics. Yeah.
It's literally it has no place in my sound or my voice whatsoever. But it always, because it's the smallest and the most oblong, it's always in the front of my cymbal stack in my little on the ground. And so I see it every day. It's like, oh, there you are, buddy. I'm never going to use you, but I'm happy you're here.
It's too small to play in your band, but you can do like sushi nights at your house and give it a rip.
Exactly. It looks like a little sushi display plate, if I'm being honest.
Like when it's done, you finish your rolls.
Yeah. Ginger time.
And it has that like, wow,
Yeah.
right? It bends.
Oh, yeah.
Meow.
It's got a personality. It's why I like it, you know?
Yeah.
So unusable. Like, it's like it would make every producer like just shake.
Yeah.
Let me try this one. Bow.
What do you think? How'd that work, Ben? We'll let you decide.
Do you have any effect symbols? Yeah, I got this one. Bow. Get the fuck
Yeah, it's going to
outta here
affect
with
your
that
income
thing.
in the future. So,
Yeah, that's it.
oh my God. What about you, Eric?
I would say my Ludwig Acrolite. I picked it
Ooh,
up
nice.
used for like $200, and the amount of variety I get out of that drum is it's a very inspiring drum. I love that thing.
Yeah. What's its primary go-to sound for you?
I mostly use it for like the super fat, gushy
Really?
thing.
Yeah,
that's
it makes
like
sense.
what I record the most with it, and it's so fun. The opposite is I'll just crank it up really tight and dry it, and it's the sort of hip hop snare.
Yeah,
Cool.
I do have an acrolite, but for some reason I don't use it as much as my Pearl Sensitone. It's also their aluminum beaded shell when the patent ran out, and it's 10 lug, and I use that one for when I want like that Motown, not even Motown, but like Portishead vibe, where I like crank it, but then I super dry it out, and then I barely touch it, and it's just this, because it still has that warmthness to it, but it's got the crack of the metal. But yeah, those aluminum fucking shells are so good.
Yeah, it's such an inspiring, and I've always I've had one drum for like one snare forever that's been my go-to. So then like once I got the acrolite, I was like, oh, I have like 18 snares now with this thing. So
you've been a Gretsch guy for a while. Has this made you want to like check out more Luddies?
I'm not gonna lie. I think if there's one company I would cheat on with Gretsch, it'd be Ludwig. But to me, they feel like the flip side of the same coin. Is that the saying?
I understand.
Where it's just
in drummer speak, sure.
Yeah. They do the modern vintage thing, kind of is the vibe.
I want to take a quick second to shout out Shure's Nexodyne series of dynamic microphones. Unlike typical dynamics that use a single transducer, Nexodyne mics feature Shure's patented Revonic dual engine technology, which basically means that there are two transducers working together, with one wired out of phase to cut down on unwanted noise. Shure sent me a few to try out, one snare, two tom mics, and a kick mic. And honestly, the timing was perfect because I had to record an audition video. And without getting too geeky, these things cut down on a lot of bleed. The tom mics barely picked up the cymbals and had this pre-EQ'd quality that just sat right in the mix. The snare had shockingly low hi-hat bleed, and the kick was massive but punchy, almost like you had two mics. And it was ready to go. So these are clip them on and press record kind of mics. And just to be clear, they didn't pay me to say this, and I'd never endorse anything I didn't actually believe in. So long story short, the audition asked for clarity and tone in the recording, and despite my drumming, I got the gig. So thanks to Shure's Nexodyne series, and that's not me just making up a story for this ad. It really did happen. So they're all under $300, and check them out at shure.com. That's SHURE.com. And I mean, come on. These are the people that made the SM57, the SM58, the 7B. They made the microphone I'm talking into right now. So check out the Nexodyne series at shure.com. At some point in your career, this is less jokey, but at some point in your career, you have to allow certain parts of your playing to atrophy to find your voice. So how do you guys make peace with, or have you guys made peace with that, when you just got to go, hey, this is kind of the drummer I am, and letting certain things fall to the wayside?
Chops, for sure. Like I don't miss a lot of the chops that I used to even play. Like it comes to a certain length with chops with me where it goes amazing, and then it starts to make me angry, to be honest. Like I feel there's a certain time where chops took over for some musicians, and now you can be just that and not anything, and nobody knows what the hell your groove is, because it doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't happen for more than a bar. So And with Instagram, you see everything. You see people who are successful with that. You see people who are in great bands that do that kind of stuff. But it's like a fine line. Like Justin Brown's a great friend of mine, one of my favorite drummers. When he does it, there's still an element of groove to it that like it still feels like there's a pulse. When the pulse kind of vanishes, or like Thomas Hawk with Meshuggah playing that kind of music, but the groove is so fucking strong that it's like you see other bands are playing really complex parts, but the groove isn't there whatsoever. But that's something that's impossible. Like, I didn't know that was possible, by the way, with what Hawk does. Like,
right.
I didn't think you could play so laid back and chill and do that. But, like, I don't miss trying to do stuff that I can't do in a technical speed manner. I do appreciate dynamics more. I appreciate groove. I appreciate playing slower, fatter, smaller, choking up. You know, like all the stuff that you kind of start to do after 20, 30 years, you know?
Mm-hmm.
For me, I feel like I think about it more in terms of musical styles that I kind of let atrophy. My background, I spent a lot of time studying classical percussion. That's what I majored in college. I have not played a marimba in like 10 years, you know, which is not to say that like I don't regret my time there by any means, but I had the mindset when I was younger that I wanted to do everything and like never be able to say no to any musical opportunity. And then at a certain point I was like, but playing in an orchestra, as fun as it is, doesn't bring me the same amount of joy as playing anything pop related.
Yeah, that's scary. It's going back to what you said, the day when someone asks you to do something and you are okay with being like, that's not my wheelhouse, guys.
Yeah.
You know, the idea of like, you know, don't leave any stone unturned and you should be so versatile and learn. Like, it comes a time where you start eating your own tail. Like, you start fucking yourself. Like, You're not really learning anything if you just keep trying to broaden your horizons, you know? It just gets really big and shallow, you know?
Yeah. And I'm not sure if I've said this on the podcast yet, and I mean this in a good way, but there was that Stuart Copeland Drumeo video where he kind of dissects. It's a really cool video. He dissects all these old Police songs and stuff, and then he would try and jokingly, so maybe that's kind of why he played it that way, but he'd be like, you know, if a drummer just does this, and he just played boom, boom, cat, boom, boom, cat, boom, boom, cat. And when he did that, it didn't sound bad, but it didn't sound, oh shit, this is an A-list drummer. You know, it was just like, oh, he's playing a rock groove, because he just doubled down on what he does, and that he didn't care if he can't play a rock groove with the groove of like 1,000 Gods, you know? And it was just, and I didn't think any less of him. I'm like, well, yeah, because he doesn't do that all the time.
I go back to Elvin again, where it's like, I had the chance to have him come into the studio with Our Lady Peace, and we tried to get him to play on 2 songs, but he ended up playing on Stealing Babies on the Happiness record.
An amazing song, yeah.
And he couldn't play on the other song just because it was like too rock in a sense. Like, it just, his feel just didn't adapt. And he was like, yeah, it's just, I can do this. And it was amazing. I fucking thought it was fantastic. But like, it was unusable in terms of like a song and, you know, trying to get some kind of a foundation to put stuff on. So that's a great example of someone. It's just like, there's Elvin Jones. It doesn't get any better. The guy literally is beyond generational.
Change the instrument. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like the ultimate, like, you know, square into a circle. Like, it just was not working whatsoever. So
was he the first one to bring it up, or did the producer? And how did he do it when he did bring it up? Was he set?
He just played what he plays, and it's like, use it or whatever. I don't know. Like, let's, you know, we're moving on. You know, there was no like. I was literally in the room with him, kind of giving him signposts visually of like, this is the next section, you know, and he crushed it. Like, for Stealing Babies, like, he understood the kind of what was going on, and he could hear the melody come and go, and playing with it. And then I actually tracked his part on top of what he played, and then, you know, kind of played out with him. So that was incredible to do, to actually have to learn his feel, because like I'm not sure if we had a click or like we played the music with a click and he played to that, but like I ended up having to literally just play what he played, and then so I had to like learn it, like this like 16 bars of a feel that he did, and it took me a long time, but once I did understand some of the pivots that he puts in naturally as a drummer, I was like, fucking changed the game for me. Like I still do it all the time, just like the way he puts kick drums in and accents, and the way he kind of uses 3/4 feels with his kick drum or with his right hand to bring tempo up or down. Just really incredible stuff that I'll take to the grave. But I was just blown away with how different he plays, even to hit his drums. Like sat on his kit and tried to play his drums. I couldn't get the sound really out of it. The same, he would just kind of pop it with his arms and they would explode. So, I don't know what the hell. It goes back to just doing your own thing and trusting in it. And nobody did it better than Alvin.
It's hard. I still grapple with that when I sit down and thinking about what to practice, because there's so many things I'm not. There's way more things I'm not good at that I'm good at, and I'm trying to be like, at what point do I allow myself to not be able to improvise over a samba ostinato?
Right. Yeah.
Which will, because then there's the thing, like, well, it will, like, I'm sure, Eric, what you talk to your students about, it's like those kind of exercises will allow you to have more independence with this other thing in your pop gig that you will use. So I get that, but it's just hard to, most of what I do is single strokes and double strokes. Well, I'll say this too. This is going back to David Garibaldi. It's my podcast. I can keep talking. But when I asked David, it was one of the first questions was like, what is your kind of boring exercise that you swear by? And he was like, oh, okay. And I thought he was going to give this insanely like David Garibaldi thing that no one's thought of. And he's like, I go between doubles and singles. Okay. And then the next one is I go triplets, and I accent the first triplet, then the second triplet, and then the third triplet. And it's just like, yeah. Why do you need anything more than that sometimes? That's most of what your hands are going to do are those things. And it blew me away.
Isn't the most important thing is like building strength, probably, right? Like, having your limbs being able to play higher tempos without feeling stressed or concerned, right? Like that's
sacrifice technique. Yeah.
Yeah, or like, maybe you want to learn how to play into the bass drum more or feather the bass, like shit like that. Like that's, that stuff, stuff that you can really use, really, like, playing a drum differently, or like, I think those kind of things you can go forever on. It's when, like you said, when you're just learning how to play 5 different things at once, like, and something like trying to make it sound as unmusical as you can. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, really, it's like I
so you do know how to practice.
I want to get that guy in the back. I want him to lose his count. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell's going on?
I was thinking about like how much time we spend like skipping over some of that basic stuff too. Where it's like, okay, we are going to work on paradiddles, but what if we did paradiddles as like triplets or quintuplets, or we're accenting different partials, and like the amount of mileage that you can get from something simple, rather than jumping to, I'm going to do the 5/4 polyrhythm on 8, all different limbs. It's like just do something simple and like expand out upon it. But yeah, I mean, like, to me, it all comes back to finding that balance between like pushing your abilities and then getting like the opposite end of that, where it's getting to a place where you're jack of all trades, master of none, where it's,
well, I think also you could be an incredible drummer and not have any information past 1985 or 86 or something, right? Like, as a drummer, like, if you need more than like the New Breed Gary Chester books or like Gary Chafee, those open you up to breaking up a 8-beat pattern. Like, as soon as you learn odd note groupings a little bit and starting to understand that it's not that you can poke holes with your left hand and your foot, once you open up those couple doors, you're good to go, man. Like, what What the hell else
Yeah.
is there to learn? Honestly, like after that, like people talking about new stuff, like get the fuck out of here, man. You're just trying to make some money. That's it.
Sure. Yeah.
This is a bad time to mention my new independence course. Fuck.
No, but people need help for sure. Like people need to be taught how to play drums 100%. But like new things and like innovative, no, man. Like that's not happening. And even the cool things, the guys that did it in the 80s were still, they were playing that shit in the 70s already. It wasn't new then either. Like,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's even that video that came out recently of Ringo playing rudiments, and he talked about double stroke roll, and he's like, oh, I don't really do doubles, you know. And he's like, oh, I do buzz rolls, you know. But what a great example of like someone who's just doubled down on who he is and what he's great at, and just like that's how he became an icon, and it has nothing to do with any sort of insane technical prowess. It's all just creativity and musicality, and you know.
Well, somehow he found a way to sound like himself more than most people. Like maybe it's because he was so fuck you with everything. Like the way he played drums was kind of like whatever, from starting with being like left-handed, right? Or like there's a lot of different things that he's just saying, I'm going this way anyway. The way he played the hi-hat, the way he just kind of heard time and kind of smashed through stuff, and the way he did fills, like nobody did do like that was totally him. Like that, come on, man. Like Levon had the got to like that opened, and that Charlie Watts started doing that. There's only a few things, you know, triplets and Bonham and Ginger Baker, and obviously like the guys that would break stuff and open the doors, like. It was like always guys that were very kind of stubborn, you know. Think of all those guys I mentioned were like, I don't want to hear how do you do it. I'm doing it my way, or fuck off, you know. Like imagine trying to tell Ginger Baker, like, oh no, this is the part. Like he would probably strangle you.
Oh, he would definitely strangle you.
He would definitely,
Ginger, before we start talking, can you put your sticks down? There's no reason.
Like, I have a feeling like Danny Carey is like that. Like if Maynard was like, no, let's try this, he would probably be underneath the floor tom.
Yeah. How about this? What is one thing you wish non-drummers understood about drumming?
That it's hard.
Yeah. That we're just trying our best back here.
I know, like everyone thinks it's so easy, you know?
Yeah.
And then they sit behind the kit and they you know, every single, and they think that's all right.
Yeah.
You know, like that's not bad. That's why. Because they don't understand what the hell we're even doing, right? I think we get a hard knock for like making stuff sound simple.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I wish people would understand how much when you go see a band live, the drummer is kind of the make or break if the band's going to sound good or not. It really is.
Yes.
I mean,
yes,
obviously the
100%.
vocals, but right behind,
like
barely behind that.
Like, you know, especially like if you're doing a festival and you see 18 bands in 4 hours, you're on the side of the stage. There's no hiding from that. Like, it's like only the drums that have to work, or else it's just like, I'm leaving, right? Like, it's, yeah.
What about you, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, in that similar vein, it's so much about like how much the drums kind of set the mood for the rest of the instrumentalist, you know? It's the lack of understanding of like what drums contribute to the musical conversation that's happening on stage. Instead of just like, oh, we're just the Neanderthals in the background just swinging away and drooling on everything, you know?
Which I am also that.
Yeah, we can be
But
both,
there's something up
you know?
here. Yeah.
It's okay to be happy. It's okay to make jokes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you don't have to be angry because you're angry.
Yeah. Let's just do some word associations. So I want you to say just one word that comes to mind when I say this word. Tour.
Fun.
That was my word, fun.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
day.
Practice.
Important.
Work.
Work. All right. Flow.
Everything.
Freedom.
Love this. Home.
Beautiful.
Quiet.
I love that. That's good. Perfection.
Unknowing.
Impossible.
There you go. Yeah. Ego.
Annoying.
Yeah. I can't beat annoying. That's
All right, now I'm going to say a phrase and just finish this sentence. Music is.
Perfect.
changing, I guess. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah. Dig it.
All right, drummers are.
Important.
That's what I had too. Important.
Like, honestly, I know I'm repeating myself, but
No, it's the first thing that came to your mind. So if it's the same word, it's fine. The future is
Bright. It's optimistic.
yes.
yeah. Golden.
All right, perfect. Eric, my playing is
Okay. That's all right.
has some schmutz on it, but it's fine.
Yeah. Good. My playing is good. I feel like I'm good.
This is a great pep talk, guys. We're like the men's group.
I'm good enough.
I'm good.
I'm smart enough.
Everything's fine.
And God damn it.
Seriously,
people
guys,
like me.
I'm fine. I'm happiest when, Eric.
On stage. Is that 2 words of cheating?
No, it's just finish the sentence. It's
Yeah.
all good.
Yeah.
Yeah. With my family.
Great.
Yeah.
Your wife's gonna be pissed
My
at this,
wife's
Eric.
gonna kill me, dude.
Yeah,
Oh
dude.
no.
I'm sending her the WeTransfer link right now.
I said that and immediately was like, shit.
Yeah. If I only had a family, I'd know what you guys mean.
Well, you know what? This is day 1 of tour, so maybe in a couple weeks hit me with that again. So
Okay, yeah, that's like
I got 3 kids, and that's just like they're teenagers, so it's like that just becomes your life, at
Yeah.
that age. So yeah.
that's awesome.
and I know that they have good taste in music as well. We were
Yeah,
talking about that earlier. All right, well, let's do some drum trivia. So this is going to be to varying degrees, and this is also as much for the audience listening. So I have, let's see. Is everyone okay over there, Eric?
Everything's fine.
Someone fell down the stairs.
All right, so this is just, I don't know why 11, but this is 11 multiple choice answers. And let me list all the answers before you blurt it, even though it's an obvious thing, just for people listening. So, who was the drummer on Miles Davis's Kind of Blue record? Elvin Jones, Art Blakey, Tony Williams, or Jimmy Cobb?
Jimmy Cobb.
What do you think, Eric?
I thought it was Tony.
It is Jimmy Cobb.
Yeah, fantastic feel. Real, so that kind of clean, real smooth. Yep.
All right, 2. Which of the following drummers was not a member of the Wrecking Crew? Hal Blaine, Earl Palmer, Jim Gordon, or Steve Gadd?
Steve Gadd.
Yeah. I'm going with Steve Gadd.
That is true. He was more East Coast, and he also came on the LA scene later. But yeah, he was not considered part of that crew. All right, you guys are killing it. Well, Eric's not.
Yeah,
but
I'm not.
Are we supposed to answer like as soon as we can? Like once you name the things?
We need like a
or are we
whiteboard.
waiting? Because I feel like I don't want to be jumping on Eric if he has the answer.
Well, how about this? We'll go
one each, alternate. You want to
Exactly.
do that?
Sure.
Let's do it. Yeah. Hey, I'm figuring this out as I go. People listening,
we go, yeah.
I'm not. All right, so we'll do Eric first this time. Which is, and I didn't know this answer, which is often cited as the first major jazz fusion record featuring rock-style drumming? A Love Supreme by John Coltrane, Bitches Brew by Miles Davis, Headhunters by Herbie Hancock, or Heavy Weather by Weather Report?
I would say Bitches Brew.
What do you think, Jeremy?
I mean, I think that might be the earliest of those recordings. The Herbie Hancock record is kind of more rocky in a sense, pop like playing wise. But but I'll go Bitches Brew.
Bitches
with
Brew
Billy Cobbin. Yeah.
is the answer. Yep. All right. Which drummer was instrumental in the development of the flat ride with Peisty? Roy Haynes, Tony Williams, Jack DeJohnette, or Joe Morello? We'll go Jeremy first.
Jack DeJohnette.
Yeah, that was gonna be my answer as well.
That's it. Jack DeJohnette.
Yeah.
Good job, guys. How's everyone doing at home? All right, anyways. 5. Which drummer replaced Bill Ward during Black Sabbath's early 80s tour? Carmine Appice, Simon Phillips, Vinny Appice, or Cozy Powell?
I was positive on Carmine, but then throwing Vinny in there is throwing me for a loop.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to stick with Carmine.
All right.
I'm going to say Vinny.
It is Vinny. It is Vinny Appice.
I saw Vinny Appice or Appice in
Yeah.
the clinic, and I was blown away with how much chops that guy actually had. I had no idea that he
Really?
could crush. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that era of metal kind of flew over my head, and I need to go more into it for sure.
Vanilla
Same.
Fudge were pretty crazy, and that was Zeppelin era, right? Because Zeppelin first opened for Vanilla Fudge in America, and Vanilla Fudge was already kind of similar. Like they were very like, and even as the drums, like Carmine was like very kind of Bonham vibes, like Ian Pace, like there were those kind of, a lot of those guys were that super solid. Cozy Powell, definitely, man.
All right, who was the first drummer inducted twice into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Phil Collins, Dave Grohl, Ringo Starr, or Chad Smith?
Phil Collins?
Yeah, it's got to be either Phil or Dave Grohl. That's what I would assume.
Because Genesis and Phil Collins, I figure. Because
Yeah, exactly.
Genesis probably were in right away.
It's actually Dave Grohl, once with Nirvana and once with Foo Fighters.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Double dipping.
Which drummer took over Keith Moon in The Who after his death? Kenny Aronoff, and this is directly after his death, which apparently there's some Who news going on right now.
Yeah, that's right.
But Kenny Aronoff, Zach Starkey, Simon Phillips, or Kenny Jones?
Kenny Jones. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I don't know.
answered.
I was going to say Simon Phillips, so.
It was Kenny Jones.
Oh, dang.
Kenny Jones did the record, and then Simon Phillips did like that 80s reunion tour. So it's kind
okay.
of close.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, who played drums on David Bowie's Let's Dance? Steve Jordan, Tony Thompson, Omar Hakim, or Dennis Chambers? This drummer also played with Daft Punk.
It's Omar Hakim, I think.
That would have been my guess, but I'm not sure on this one at all.
Apparently it's Tony Thompson.
It's Tony Thompson? Oh, wow. I always thought it was Omar. Either way, can't go wrong. Any of those guys.
Yeah, exactly.
For real.
Oh, shit. Dennis shows up? Yeah. Who was the drummer on the Rolling Stones' Give Me Shelter? Charlie Watts, Jim Keltner, Jimmy Miller, or Kenny Jones?
I'm gonna stick with Charlie, the safe answer.
Okay, yeah. It's the same answer.
I think I remember hearing a story of Kenny Jones like coming over and hanging out and playing on it. So it's either him or Miller, the producer, that was like played on it. It's one of those two.
It was Jimmy Miller.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he was the producer of the session and just played drums on it.
But there's a Kenny Jones like sat in and played on something.
I wouldn't be surprised.
The Stones. Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, I'm sure they're in writing sessions, not everyone can make it, and they're like, just throw this down. I mean, it was...
For sure. Especially when they were like in this, like the Stones in the south of France and people just kind of coming and rolling in. Like, seriously? Like, of
Rolling
course.
is right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right, last two. Who played drums on Jeff Buckley's album Grace? Matt Chamberlain, Joey Waronker, Matt Johnson, or Zach Alford? I'll let Eric go first.
Say Matt Chamberlain.
Interesting. By that I mean you're wrong, but I just was surprised.
It's Matt Johnson because like that first record was that band, which were incredible, by the way. I saw them open up for Juliana Hatfield in Toronto, and we were on Columbia back then, so we were label mates. So I actually said hi to Jeff after the show, and he was just he was incredible. Like it was one of the best live shows I've ever seen. And Matt Johnson, incredible drummer. That record, like they were a band. Like they had a feel of a band, and that record really encapsulated that.
Yeah, Matt's been on the show, and I'll just say it was a very insightful interview. A very thoughtful guy, and he
Cool.
plays like it too.
Brilliant.
All right, last one, and then I'll let you guys go. So, who was the drummer on Michael Jackson's Beat It? Steve Jordan, Jeff Porcaro, Jonathan Moffett, or Greg Bissonette?
I think it's Porcaro, isn't it?
Yeah,
What do you think, Eric?
I would say Porcaro.
Yep, it was Porcaro.
Man, you get 100% over there.
No. He
No,
let's see.
I got
You missed the
some
Phil
wrong.
Collins one. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That was tough. You hit some of my blind spots. I'm not gonna lie. That's
There was no real rhyme or reason to it, too. So I probably should have the answers and then a little backstory
Well, we
about
kind
the
of talked
answer.
about it, some of them.
yeah. I loved your insight about some of those. That was great.
Yeah, you did because you knew all the answers.
I love that.
Well, actually, it's C and D.
See, the confusion comes from in 1978. Well, you're a great co-host, both of you
Okay,
guys.
man, that was fun. That was awesome.
Well, yeah, I think
man.
that's a great place
Yeah.
to end it, guys. And that's the show. If you're listening on a platform that allows ratings and reviews, do that. It helps more people find the show, so it'll get bigger and better, and hopefully I'll have a chance to sell out one day. But you'll be an OG listener that can brag to all your friends. Anyways, why don't you go and check us out at bigfatsnaredrum.com and follow us on all the socials. Just search for Big Fat Snare Drum and you will find us. The show is edited in part using Isotope RX Audio Editor. It's amazing, so go check that out at isotope.com. And thanks again to Gunnar Olsen for the theme music. Bye.